ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਜੋ ਜਨ ਭਾਉ ਭਗਤ ਕਛ ਜਾਨੈ, ਤਾ ਕਉ ਅਚਰਜ ਕਾਹੂ। ਜੋ ਜਲ ਜਲ ਮਹਿ ਪੈਸ ਨਾ ਨਿਕਸੈ, ਤਿਉ ਢੁਰ ਮਿਲਿਓ ਜੁਲਾਹੋ। ਹਰ ਕੇ ਲੋਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਤੋ ਮਤ ਕਾ ਭੋਰਾ। ਜੋ ਤਨ ਕਾਂਛੀ ਤਜਹਿ ਕਬੀਰਾ, ਰਮਈਐ ਕਹਾ ਨਿਹੋਰਾ ਰਹਾਉ। ਕਹਿਤ ਕਬੀਰ ਸੁਨਹੁ ਰੇ ਲੋਈ, ਭਰਮ ਨਾ ਭੁਲਹੁ ਕੋਈ। ਕਿਆ ਕਾਂਛੀ ਕਿਆ ਊਖਰ ਮਗਹਰ, ਰਾਮ ਹਿਰਦੈ ਜੋ ਹੋਈ। ਕਹਿਤ ਕਬੀਰ ਸੁਨਹੁ ਰੇ ਲੋਈ, ਭਰਮ ਨਾ ਭੁਲਹੁ ਕੋਈ। ਕਿਆ ਕਾਂਛੀ ਕਿਆ ਊਖਰ ਮਗਹਰ, ਰਾਮ ਹਿਰਦੈ ਜੋ ਹੋਈ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, today's ਪਾਵਨ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ from Sachkhand Sri Harmandir Sahib is on Ang 692, blessed to us by Bhagat Kabir Ji. Bhagat Kabir Ji today is saying to us all, jo jan pao bhagat kach janai. Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, those jan, Sangat Ji, the word jan is made up from janam. Literally you'll see the word jan translated to humble servant, a humble being. And that's actually what a jan truly is, a humble being, because it comes from the word janam. But it's talking about that janam meaning birth. There's obviously the birth of this physical body when it comes into this world, but then there's that janam, then there's that birth, Sangat Ji, that when we are born into that life, into that state of being, of becoming a humble servant before everyone else. When you start to see that light of that one amongst everything and everyone, and you being a little light amongst that supreme light, you humble yourself before that light. Sangat Ji, Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, jo jan pao bhagat kach jane, means even if there's a humble being out there that knows even kach, a little bit of what? Something of what? Of pao bhagat, of devotional love. Those that have broke away from just carrying out empty rituals, just carrying out practices that are just robot-like, that have no emotion, that have no energy from inside. But when somebody reaches that place where they reach that place of that devotional love when their heart is filled with that powerful emotion, the energy of love that is just unconditional, that is indiscriminative in nature. Sangat ji, that jo jan pao bhagat, bhagat Sangat ji here tatte no sihari bhagati, devotion, that much felt love-filled devotion from inside. Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, kach janne, kende even if you have a little piece of that inside of you. Kende ta kao acharj kaho, kende ta kao acharj kaho, kende then it's not, acharj here can be translated to surprising. Then, kende ta kao acharj kaho, kende for them then it's not surprising. What isn't surprising? Then it's not a surprise for them to do what? For this to happen to them, Sangat ji, jo jal, just like Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, taking this upon themselves and sharing with us their own personal experience, which I think is just so beautiful and amazing. Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, then when you've even got a little bit of that love and devotion inside of your heart, then it's not surprising that this will happen to you, just like jo jal meh paas, just like a little droplet of water, jo jal, and then jal meh, and that droplet of water goes into the jal, into the ocean. Jo jal meh goes into that ocean, paas na nikse. Kende paas Sangat ji means jado oh vich pੈ gaya. When it goes inside of it, it goes in, kende paas, and then what? Na nikse, and it's not able to return and come back out. Sangat ji, you can try as much as you want to try and find that droplet of water, but once it's gone into the ocean, it cannot be found again. It's gone. ਪੈਸ ਨਾ ਨਿਕਸੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੱਢ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ. You cannot take that back out again. Just like ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ say to us, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਦੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਵਾਹ ਪਵਹਿ ਸਮੁੰਦ ਨਾ ਜਾਣੀਆਂ ਹੈ. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Path Ji saying to us, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਦੀਆਂ, you have these streams and rivers flowing towards into the ocean. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਦੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ and Va. And what happens when those streams and those rivers, they might have their own identity and have their own names when they are a river. But when that very river flows and goes and merges back into that ocean, pavahe samunda, then na janiye hai, then you cannot know who that river was anymore. Then you don't know its identity anymore. Then all you know is it's the ocean. Kende nadiya ate va pavahe samund na janiye hai. In that same way, Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, kende tyo tur milyo julaho. And what's beautiful in this Pangati Sangat Ji, Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, kende in this same way, kende tyo tur milyo. Tur Sangat Ji, it comes from the word tal jana. Tal jana Sangat Ji translates to something that melts. Kende aise tarah kende tyo tur milyo julaho. Julaho Sangat Ji is a weaver. Bhagat Kabir Ji made this very clear to the world. It does not matter what so-called caste you are born into, what label you have been given to say this is what class of work that you belong to. Bhagat Kabir Ji saying it doesn't matter that even be that your work is that you are a weaver. It does not matter, Bhagat Kabir Ji saying what work you are doing. Obviously there's the Dharmadi Kirt, that is a separate topic. Dharmadi Kirt meaning that you are earning a righteous living. And Sangat Bhagat Kabir Ji saying that people might call me low caste. People might say that, you have to be a Brahmin to meet Vaheguru. You have to be a Brahmin to teach other people about God. You have to be this so-called high caste of being a scholar. But Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, look, I tell you straight, I'm a weaver. And this happened to me. I met God. There is no home left. There is no I am left. There isn't that false identity left inside of me. This is Tyotor. This is, but how did it happen for me? Milio, कहंदे मैं मिलिया तो सही वाहिगुरु जी कहंदे पर मैं टुर गया मैं ढल गया. कहंदे that first of all, when our mind might be stone-like, stubborn, and it doesn't budge for anything. But that moment, Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, my heart melted. My heart melted and was filled with love. He said, in that moment, in that instant, I met Vaheguru Ji. And then Bhagat Kabir Ji say, Kende har ke loga main to mat ka pura. Kende, oh people of the world, oh those people of the world that are even said to be the people of God, the saintly people. Bhagat Kabir Ji is calling out to them. They're saying, Kende har ke loga main to mat ka pura. Pura, Sangat Ji, can be translated to somebody that is simple-minded, that is innocent, or even people that refer to someone as being a fool. Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, yes, I'm a simple-minded fool. This is how you all see me to be. Why? You see me to be a fool because kende jo tan kanchi tajeh kabira rmeyye kahani hora. Because I was born and bred in Kanchi, in what people famously call Benares. Benares is that center for the Hindus. Sangat Ji, it's that place that they call it the place of Shiva. Shiva, Sangat Ji, is the deity that represents death, the Shakti of Maut, of destruction. And it was said that anybody that goes and dies in that place, anybody that goes and, or some people said that is cremated in that place, they said that they will receive salvation. But Bhagat Kabir Ji, to show the world that this isn't correct, to say that it's not about the actual place where you are physically, geographically, it doesn't matter where you actually are. That even though Bhagat Kabir Ji is saying that this is what this place is this place is known as the place of Shiva. So if you die here or if you are cremated here, you get liberation. Bhagat Kabir Ji said no. They said, I'm born and bred here and I see that how people promote this idea. And you see that people are bringing dead bodies into this place and cremating their bodies here. And there's people that are having a great time out of this. There's those pundits, there's those scholars that are actually making a living out of this. This has become so that they perform their last rites, the rituals of death, and then they rake it in, they make money out of this. And Bhagat Kabir Ji, what did they do to show the world that no, it's not about this, that even a weaver like me, that as long as your heart melts and is filled with love and you have devotion and that meditating on the name of God, Bhagat Kabir Ji said, yes, I could have stayed in this place, but then how could I have shown the world that it's not based on this? Then what did Bhagat Kabir Ji do? Bhagat Kabir Ji actually travelled out of Kanchi, where everybody travels in at the end of their life. But as Bhagat Kabir Ji's life is coming towards the end years of their life, they travel out of Kanchi and they go out to a place called Maghar instead. Maghar is said to be a place that was cursed. many different stories. Some people say that Shivji themselves had cursed this place. To say that if you come and die and you are cremated in this place, that you will not receive salvation. Instead, that you will go and rot in hell. And some people said that you will die a donkey's death. Different stories. You'll be reincarnated as a donkey. Some people say that there was an actual saint that cursed this place and said that this land will become barren. And some people say this land was barren before Bhagat Kabir Ji came there. And Maghar actually translates to being looted on the way, meaning because they're saying that there was a saint that on his way to Maghar, to this place, he was looted by dacoits. And then he cursed this place that this land will remain barren and whoever dies here will be reincarnated into a donkey. So all these stories, this fear mongering stories that were behind this place, so people stopped going there. So people would not go anywhere near that place, town, because they feared that if they died there, if they were cremated there, then they'd be reincarnated as a donkey, or they'd have to go to hell. All these stories. So obviously when nobody is staying in that place anymore, it becomes barren, Sangat Ji. But Bhagat Kabir Ji went to that very place at the end of their life. And they said that it hadn't rained in that place for so long. These are the different stories that I'm just sharing you with. But Bhagat Kabir Ji went and sat in that place. And today, by the way, Sangat Ji, that very place, the district is called Sant Kabir district. Because Kabir Ji went there, and that land, wherever a Sant sits, wherever a Bhagat sits, their love that they have in their heart has the ability to change that place. They said it rained when Bhagat Kabir Ji came and sat there. You know, these things, they're not miracles. It's just that we don't yet understand how this energy of love and compassion actually works, putting something out there in the universe, and how it even brought rain to that place, and from being a barren piece of land it became lush and green. Because jithe basan saad jan so than so handa, because wherever saint goes and sits, that place becomes so beautiful. Singh ji sat dharti pei hariyavali, jithe mera satgur baitha aaye, that wherever the true Guru comes and sits, that place becomes lush and green. And that physically happens, Sangat Ji. It's not just sayings. It's not just that happens to your inside your heart, that blossoms, that actually physically happens. Those places that were barren, places where a saint could actually come and sit, where it hasn't rained, there's the ability for rain to even pour down that place. Just because our little minds cannot understand these things, just because scientists may not have been able to prove these things yet, it doesn't mean that these things don't exist. All I ask of you, Sangat Ji, is to keep an open heart. Because God is much bigger than what we have yet understood with this mind. And Bhagat Kabir Ji showed the world. And they said that if I had died in that place, then nobody would have known the miracles of meditating with love and devotion on the name of God. That it doesn't mean it's not bound to places. Sangat Ji, what do I take from this? For me, the biggest teaching I can take out of this is, it doesn't matter what situation of life that I might be put in. It doesn't matter whether I'm put in a beautiful place, sitting in that celestial place, that heavenly place that is filled with ecstatic energy of where be Sri Harmandir Sahib of Amritsar. Yes, there's so much more opportunity being in such a energy filled place. Even if we're closed, we've got so much more opportunity for that immense energy to flow into our heart, and our heart to burst open in ecstatic energy of bliss. But saying that Sangat Ji, in the same breath, Bhagat Kabir Ji, for me, is showing me in this Shabad that even if I'm stuck in a place, in a household, where it might be so challenging and so difficult, even if somebody is experiencing domestic violence, even if somebody is experiencing working in a workplace that is toxic, no matter where you are in life at the moment, you're struggling in your relationship and you might be in that place that has got such a negative energy where it's a dark place. But it doesn't mean we still cannot melt this heart from inside and fill it with devotion and actually meet Vaheguru Ji, even if we're in that place that has the most dimmest of energies. This heart can still be filled with love and devotion, no matter what we are surrounded with. Bhai Ranveer Singh Ji proved this. Bhai Fauja Singh proved this. Sant Jarnail Singh Ji proved this, being in prison. But still those walls did not stop their devotion from inside. There was a Christian priest or a pastor, one of those, where he said, how is this man, Bhai Ranveer Singh, surviving in such an enclosed place with darkness, four walls around him, with the dripping sound of water, having to urinate in that same space where it sent anybody to go crazy within days of being there? How has this man survived for so many weeks? It's just to show that it doesn't matter where we are. Yes, it helps us to be in uplifted places, but if we haven't got those options, I'm saying, and we are in a toxic environment, but by the likes of Bhai Ranveer Singh proved, Bhagat Kabir Ji proved that being in such a barren land that had created such a negative vibe of people having so much fear of, but you can still sit there and find Vaheguru Ji within yourself. Your heart, you still can fill it with love. You can still melt that stone-like stubborn mind. Tull, just like Bhagat Kabir Ji said. Pyare jo tan kanshi tajeh kabira rmaiye kaha nihora. If I hadn't let go, if I hadn't walked away from Banaras, then they said that how would people have known about God, kaha nihora, that God Sangat Ji, that this is actually not about the place, but this is that God can make anything happen. Kahat Kabeer sunhore loi. Loi Sangat Ji means world. Loi Sangat Ji can be translated to the people of this world. They said, Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, sunhore loi, listen, O people of the world, parmana pul ho koi, don't be filled with doubt within your mind. Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, kende kya kanchi, doesn't matter whether it's Banaras, such a uplifted spiritual place that it is known by, that with such great boons. Kende kya kanchi kya ukhar magar, whether it be a place like Maghar that is ukhar, that is barren, riddled with what? With curses. But Bhagat Kabir Ji saying, Ram Hriday jo hui. But those that have Vaheguru Ji that is sat inside of their heart, Hriday, those that have Vaheguru Ji sitting deep inside of their heart because their hearts are filled with love, you can be liberated no matter where you are, because it's about our heart. The question is, what's in our heart? Not about where are we sitting physically, not about what are we doing physically, but what's sitting in your heart. Is it love and devotion? Or is it that you're in the best place possible? You're sitting even in a Gurdwara Sahib. You're sitting around Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but your heart is filled with stubbornness and it's completely closed. The question is, where is your heart? Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Sangat Ji, please forgive me for all my mistakes. Let us do ardas. Let us beg for Vaheguru Ji to fill Sangat Ji, to fill our hearts with love. Because Sangat Ji, when our hearts are filled with devotion and love, then to merge with God is no biggie.